Hi, Darnell Dolphins. It's Miss De Silva. Thank you for joining me for another lesson. This is a special week because lots of students and schools all across the country are recognizing what we call No Name Calling Week. So we are going to talk a little bit more about what name calling is, and I'm going to read you a story so that you can better understand what name calling is and what it looks like. And we're going to think about that story a little bit and how we can do our best to make sure that there's no name calling within our homes or within our school at Darnell. So the first thing I want to make sure you understand is that name calling means that we call someone names with the intention to hurt them. So pretty much what I mean by that is that maybe we use unkind words, or we call someone mean names or names that might make a person feel bad about themselves or hurt their feelings, rather than just calling them by their actual name. That's the best thing we can do, right? We should call people by the names that they want to be called. But sometimes it happens where people make up names or think it's funny, or just don't think about other people's feelings and they call other people names. So let's go ahead and read that story. So the story we're going to read is called Baxter and Danny Stand Up to Bullying. Now, I know I've taught you a lot about bullying a few weeks ago, but name calling is a type of bullying. It's verbal bullying. It's when we use our words to hurt other people's feelings or make them feel bad about themselves. So that's why this story is about both bullying and name calling. Baxter the bunny was the fastest animal in the forest. Danny the bear was the best dancer. They would often dance and run together as they listened to the musical sounds of the stream and the wind in the trees. One day, they heard a loud noise coming from the trees ahead. On top of a tree sat a huge blue jay surrounded by all of the forest jays. They were screeching. Baxter and Danny had never heard the jays make such a noise. Baxter said, "Who are you? Please be more quiet. My ears are beginning to hurt." "I am Buford Blue Jay, and I am big, blue, and beautiful. I just arrived in the forest. Thought I'd teach these little pipsqueaks how to make some real noise." Buford turned to the other jays and whispered, "Let's have some fun, boys." Screech, screech, Baxter Big Ears, slow as the turtles. Danny boy, dopey dancer, screech, screech. As time went by, Buford and the jays cried louder and louder. Buford made up mean names for all the forest animals. The jays would cry along and laugh and laugh. Slimy snake, screech, screech. Bucktooth beaver, screech, screech. Soon the forest was filled with the sound of jays and the shouts of angry animals. Baxter was angry about Buford's name calling. Danny was sad because he thought that he was a great dancer, not a dopey dancer. Baxter and Danny left the forest and ran to the open field near Mr. Bear's garden. Soon, they noticed a humming sound. It was coming from a nearby beehive. The gentle humming made them feel good. Baxter said, "Hello in there." Out buzzed the queen bee. "Hello," said she. I'm Queen Beth of the bees. Can I be of help? Queen Beth, your bees are so calm. How do you keep the hive happy? Staying happy is not always easy. We bees try to say nice things to each other, stay busy making honey, and stick together as friends. I like to sing this song to keep us all buzzing along. I am great and so are you. Together we can make it through. Working hard, helping out. That's what bees are all about. Baxter and Danny began to sing along with Queen Beth. The more they sang, the better they felt. Thank you, Queen Beth, for making us happy again. Why were you sad, my friends? Buford Blue Jay called me slow as the turtles, and Danny, dopey dancer. Well, I'll be. Buford is acting like a bully. Here's the buzz on standing up to bullying. Stand up strong and tall. Stick together as friends and sing your song loud and clear. Don't forget, I'll be around if you need help. Baxter and Danny ran back into the forest and stopped beside Billy Beaver's lodge. Billy looked very sad. Buford and the Blue Jays made fun of my teeth. Now all of the animals are calling me Billy Bucktooth. Baxter and Danny said, Billy, we are here to help you feel better. Sing along with us. I am great and so are you. Together we can make it through. Working hard, helping out. That's what we are all about. Wow, I'm feeling happy again. Maybe we can help Sammy Snake. Everyone is calling him Slimy Snake because of Buford and the Jays. Soon Baxter and Danny were moving through the forest and singing their feel-good song to all of the animals who had been bullied. All the animals gathered around Baxter and Danny. Billy stepped up and said, Thanks for making us feel good. Come by the lodge anytime for dinner. Baxter shouted, Our work is not done. We have to stop the Jays from acting like bullies and face up to Buford Blue Jay. Baxter and Danny started to sing. The other animals joined in, and together they walked through the forest to Buford's tree. Buford and the Jays cried and screeched as loud as they could. The animals just sang their song louder. Into the forest swarmed Queen Beth and her bees. The forest was filled with the sound of humming and song. Then a very strange thing happened. Buford stopped puffing out his chest and flew to a nearby tree. The other Jays just looked at him and flew away. You were right, Queen Beth. We stuck together, sang our song loud and strong, and Buford lost his power. Queen Beth flew over to Buford's tree and started to hum. The bees and the animals followed her. All the animals started to sing. I am great and so are you. Together we can make it through. Working hard, helping out. That's what we are all about. Buford raised his head and listened to the song. From that day on, Buford never called the animals names again. Well, I hope you enjoyed that story as much as I did. Something I noticed was that Baxter and Danny had to realize that they didn't deserve to be called names, right? And it was okay for them to stand up for themselves. Something they did not do was call Buford the Blue Jay names back. Sometimes that happens. If a person is called names, then they call the other person names, and then both people are involved, right? So that's what I want you to really try not to do if it happens to you. If you're called names, you can talk to an adult, you can ask your friends to help you, and you can stand up for yourself. But standing up for yourself doesn't mean that you have to be mean back or call the other person mean names in return. Okay, so if you remember, I talked about what name calling is. It's when you call another person names that they don't want to be called, and it's because you're trying to get them upset or hurt their feelings, or just hurt them in any kind of way. So I want you to think, how does it feel to be called mean names? I know that Baxter and Danny talked about that in the story, that they had a couple different emotions about it. Here we are back at the story. If you remember, Baxter shared that he was angry about the name calling, and Danny was sad. So a person being called names, or if you're called names, might make you feel different emotions. Some people feel more angry, some people feel more sad, or it could even be other types of feelings or emotions. All of that is normal, and the thing to remember is that those are uncomfortable emotions or feelings, right? And we don't like to feel uncomfortable, and we don't want to make other people feel uncomfortable. So how does it feel to be called mean names? Maybe you would feel sad or angry like Baxter and Danny, or maybe you might feel another type of feeling. But remember that if you choose to call others mean names, then it's likely that they'll feel that way also. So that leads to my other question. How do other people feel when they are called mean names? The truth is, we don't necessarily know how other people feel when we call them mean names, right? We can ask them, but if you're calling them names, you're probably not thinking about how they feel, because if we're thinking about other people's feelings, then we're not calling other people mean names. But other people might also feel sad or angry. It could also make them feel frustrated, or upset, or any other way that it might cause them to feel. So what do we do about this? How do we contribute to No Name Calling Week, and how do we stop name calling? What do you think that we can do? I have one big suggestion before ending this video. The easiest way to avoid name calling so that you don't get called names and you don't call other people names is just to focus on being kind. So calling other people by the names that they like to be called, their given names. So I like to be called Miss De Silva. Then you're not possibly making that person feel sad or angry or upset if you're just focused on doing the right thing and being kind towards others. All right, that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much again for joining me and listening to the story and some of the other things that we talked about. I hope that you will think before using your words, maybe even with your siblings, because sometimes name calling might happen a lot at home, and being really careful if that's something that maybe has happened before, to try not to do it anymore into the future. Good job, everybody, and I'll see you next time.